This computer. Hello, I'm Saleha, and this is Chai Chat and Community. Before you start listening to our podcast, get your favorite chai, coffee, settle in, and join us for a conversation. Yes, thank you, Nisha. And so do I. I always have my chai. Let's settle in for a conversation that sits at the heart of so many families. Today, we are chatting about IVF and the deeply personal journey of secondary fertility. Here in Australia, IVF is a profound part of our community fabric. In fact, about 1 in 16 babies born here are conceived through IVF. But while science brings immense hope, the journey itself is a demanding roller coaster. For women from multicultural backgrounds, navigating this path often comes with added layers of cultural expectations, silence, and unique emotional hurdles, which are mostly unseen. But first, before we start talking about IVF, let me just explain what I found about IVF. Intro vitro fertilization, in vitro fertilization or IVF is a medical procedure where an egg is combined with sperm outside the body in a laboratory dish. In vitro means glass. It is a demanding multi-step journey involving ovarian stimulation, medication, egg retrieval, fertilization, embryo development, and finally, embryo transfer into the uterus. The reality of success, how much is it, you might wonder? Many people enter IVF assuming that it is a guaranteed baby, but the data tells a different story, as my guest will tell you. According to data from bodies like the CDC in America and HFEA in the UK, the live birth success rate per single embryo transfer is heavily dependent on age. Under 35, around 45 to 50% success rate. Ages 35 to 37, around 35 to 40% success rate. Ages 38 to 40 drops to roughly about 20 to 25% success rates. Over 40 drops to below 10 to 15%. It's kind of scary because for many parents, you want to have a baby once you're settled in your career, in your life, but age is a big factor. And for women from multicultural backgrounds, these numbers come with added layers. Studies show, and I'm going to read this out, so bear with me while I do that. Studies show that minority ethnic groups often experience lower IVF live birth rates compared to Caucasian patients, frequently due to later access to fertility care, higher rates of underlying conditions like fibroids and cultural stigmas, which plays a huge part in our communities that delay seeking medical help. Today, we are joined by Nisha, who has experienced the beautiful joy of a successful IVF pregnancy with her first child and is currently bravely still in the trenches of trying for her second. We are going to talk about what it means to hold on to hope, how to navigate cross-cultural family dynamics, and most importantly, how to find active healing resources while you're still in the middle of the journey. Nisha, thank you so much for joining me today. This is so personal for you, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you so much, Saleha. Yeah, it's very, very personal. And I think, going to talk with very, very gratitude. And I hope that there would be some things around this conversation where other people can benefit also, some information around IVF and fertility and how we ourselves can advocate for our own bodies, because sometimes that is also a missing element in some, I would say, cultures who are coming, women of color who are culturally diverse background. We talk about our bodies very differently, but it's very important to self-advocate for your body as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we never do enough of that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
So before we start our conversation, tell us something about yourself.
Yes, sure. I'm Nisha Gulenishat, and I'm a mother. I'm a migrant woman from Pakistan, and I'm a South Bank resident. I live in South Bank, And I'm someone whose life and career has been always shaped by community, because I worked in the community sector. And before I jump into a little bit more about myself professionally and personally, I also wanted to tell the meaning of my name. So Gul Nishat, so Gul means flower and Nishat means happiness. So the meaning of my name is that I'm flower of happiness.
Which
And
you are, knowing you for the last few years, always smiling.
thank you. Thank you, Salea. Yes. So professionally, I have worked for almost 2 decades in community partnerships, health promotion. I have worked overseas in sustainable development goals, in gender equality and women's empowerment. And when I came to Australia, I started working in specialist family violence sector. So for more than like 7 years now, I have been working in a specialist family violence sector. This is one, there are 12 women's health services in Victoria, and my organization is one organization part of that whole regional network. And I also co-chair Multicultural Women's Alliance Against Family Violence. And thank you so much for Saleha for bringing me into this incredible woman. They are like so great and advocating for culturally appropriate services in Victoria. So that is an advocacy alliance. And yeah, of course, Saleha can do a bit better pitch than myself. And I also serve as a board director at one of the women's refuge, which is called Courage Collective. So the thing I'm going to talk about today is also I'm speaking about today is very personal. So I will also talk about Healing Noor Collective, which you can see behind me. I'm the founder of Healing Noor Collective, and this is an emerging social impact venture which is focused on healing and recovery. Because of my own experience inside the sector, in women's health services and broadly in the health sector, we have seen that there is always so much focus on so much focus on crisis and response, but there is not much funding even goes to prevention or healing and recovery. So that's where the bigger gap is, that healing is part of prevention, and we need to put more focus on that also. So at present, this Healing Noor Collective work is particularly supporting women who are 35 plus onwards, who are navigating fertility, IVF, perimenopause, hormonal changes, and emotional transitions that can come with it. And also, I wanted to talk about, I will talk it a little bit later into the conversation also today, that I'm not approaching this work only by looking at reports and statistics. I know that it means, I know because I'm in it, that what it means to receive an injection schedule, wait for a phone call, or go into a work meeting with a very bad news. Sometimes you have to go on with your life, but while you are also processing grief. But why I created Healing Noor Collective is because I kept thinking there must be a better way for women to be supported through this. And we will talk about it a little bit later on. This is the space I'm trying to build. Yeah, thank you, Saleha, for asking for my introduction.
No, and like I told you just a short while ago, that I don't know much about IVF. I know about two people, both of them very closely connected to me. One is an ex-colleague who for 15 years tried IVF, and I know about the bad news because her face would fall, her day would be terrible. At that time, and I'm talking more than 10 years ago, she was spending 15,000. She spent 15,000 going through it, and it's a huge resource drain, financial drain,
Yes.
and forget the emotional one, which is
Yeah.
unbearable. I mean, I cannot even begin to fathom that. I
Mm.
also know a close family member who
Mm.
tried IVF and had triplets at the first shot. So, it's hit and miss. You never know what works, what doesn't work. But
Yes.
whatever the journey, it's a powerful journey. If you're unsuccessful, the healing is so important. And the healing and, someone
Mm.
who can understand you and, be with you and hold your hand.
Yeah.
Holding hand is such a big thing, which we never do enough.
No, that's so
So,
true.
yeah,
And you also, I think, raised a very important point around. Of course, we talk about financial cost, but we don't talk about emotional cost. Emotional cost is very high,
yeah,
and the load women carry through this grief, through loss, and through still keep going on with their lives. Like we still have to work, we still have to care for care for our loved ones, care for our family, show up for our family, show up for our work. But at the same time, we're also navigating that privately inside us. That
Absolutely.
yeah.
The loss, the grief, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
not every IVF is successful. So,
yeah,
I mean, and
absolutely.
I know, as I said, I know a colleague after 10 years, or maybe 15 years,
Yeah,
I think she just gave up. It was
yeah,
just so heartbreaking for her. But
yeah,
anyway, so
yeah.
you are still in your fertility journey.
Yes.
And what has the journey taught you about grief, hope, and resilience, which we just talked about
Yeah,
now?
that's a very good segue into this conversation
Yes,
because I feel like what it has taught me this whole journey. I will talk a little bit more about because I have into this fertility journey for a while now, and I've been doing this IVF round since 2023. So it's like a very long one for me. So it has taught me that grief and hope are not opposites.
it's
And
intermingled.
yeah, it is intermingled. They can live together. And sometimes within the same hour, like you are feeling grief and at the same time you are hopeful also that maybe the next one will be the one which could bring a different outcome.
Yeah.
So I have done, since 2023, I have done more than 20 IVF cycle. And
Oh
in
my
between
goodness.
this, yeah. So I don't talk about it too openly, but I think this is the time that I talk about more openly about it and also the process around it so that more people can know that what is the process so there is less stigma and less
Yeah.
fear so and in this 20 it's more than 20 IVF cycles and there were two miscarriages in between, so I really know
So
what.
sorry about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, no, yeah. It was very hard. um and
And
I
all
know.
this while still looking after a child, a
Yes,
toddler.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I always said to myself that my child will never see me crying. Like even if I have to cry, I have to cry. Sorry about my voice also.
No, 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 no.
That she will not never see me cry because kids can judge very quickly. Even if they are little, they
Absolutely.
can pick up their mom's sense so
Emotions. Yep,
quickly.
yep,
Yeah, emotions very
absolutely.
quickly. So I did my best effort to never cry in front of my child. And sometimes I think what it is that we know that a particular grief of becoming attached to a possibility, that we are becoming attached to a possibility, there is a hope that there is some outcome, but then that doesn't happen, to then we have to let it go. That how should we let it go? So it is not only the loss of a pregnancy, or sometimes it is the loss of a timeline and the future we have imagined, and the confidence once we have in our own bodies. So sometimes it is more difficult, but at the same time I always tell myself that I'm still here, I'm still trying. That does not mean that I'm endlessly positive also at the same time, but or I'd never ever, I would say that what's the word for it, I never say that I'm I have mastered resilience, because we talked about
You cannot
resilience.
be, yes.
You cannot be. Some days I feel strong, and some days I feel really, really tired of even being strong, or tired of even being looking, oh, yeah, of course, I'm
Yep.
happy and strong. I'm tired.
It's a roller
I'm
coaster
very,
ride, isn't
yeah,
it? Up
yeah,
and down in the same day.
yeah. And this journey has really changed my understanding of resilience also, because we talk about resilience as, we come from a different cultural background. Our parents teach us, you have to be resilient. And resilience, in my mind, I have always think that it is about pushing through. Like we are pushing through what is happening, no matter what, and we keep doing it. But
The
I
brave
now,
face.
yeah, the brave face. Yeah. Our moms always tell us, oh, keep a brave face, just dust it off and just get on with life. That kind of understanding of the resilience. But now I know resilience is sometimes also knowing that, when do you have to stop, that it is okay to cry, it is okay to rest, it
Absolutely.
is okay to ask for help. That is also part of resilience. So that has changed my understanding. This whole journey has changed my understanding for resilience. And another thing is around hope. That hope for me, it has been quieter now. Before I was like blindly optimistic, very, very blindly optimistic. But it is now, uh, it is that small decision. I'd remain open to the possibility that it could happen, and also open to the possibility that it might not happen also. So I have to accept both truths. So for
We all
me,
live in hope when we start any
yeah,
journey. And having a child is no different, isn't it?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
start a
Absolutely.
journey in hope, and you should cling on to hope. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's never the wrong thing. It's just
No.
that,
Mm.
I always feel some things happen for the best,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't. But
Yeah.
in the short term, it is difficult when we are unsuccessful. And this is
Yes.
such a long journey,
Yes.
of
Absolutely.
hope and then down, up and
Up
down,
and down.
basically. Um, to not to break down at time, and I
Yes.
think we
Mm.
have mistakenly been always brought up to think that women should never break down, but
No,
that's not fair on us
that's not
for
fair.
anything that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We have to let it out at some point of time.
Absolutely. And when we talk about, like, of course, we are doing this, we are in this journey and we are one individual, but the support around is also very, very important. This is not only
Absolutely.
about us being hopeful, it's also about people around us that
Yes.
supporting that journey, like,
Yeah.
your family, your friends, your husband, like
Yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
around you.
Absolutely, it affects everybody.
It affects everybody. Yeah, 100%.
So, in South Asian communities, there are strong expectations of motherhood. Oh my God, I've been asked so many times why my younger daughter is not married and not having a child. Um, from very well-meaning relatives, never close relatives, but I think, friends and, colleagues. It doesn't matter whether you're South Asian. Mostly here, you don't, I mean, I don't have South Asian colleagues,
Mm.
but, that constant expectation of being a mother,
Yeah.
big families and having children and having more children, not just having a child, having more
Mm.
children, and God
True.
help if you
Mm.
have a daughter like you
Mm.
and me.
Mm.
How
Mm.
do you hold your expectations along with your own reality? You have a
Yeah.
daughter. I mean, I know I was told when I had two daughters that I should try a third time for a boy,
Mm.
and I'm like, no,
Mm.
my
Yeah.
body will not allow me to do that.
No, no. And you're so right. And this South Asian communities is very unique, I would say, very, very unique, because we can offer extraordinary sense of family and belonging. We are like, of course, we are in this together. This is collective care. We are
Yeah,
even making
it's the
decisions.
village,
It's a
which
village.
sometimes we don't want.
Don't want, yeah.
Yes.
That sometimes even one decision, the whole family is making decision for like one decision for one
Yeah.
person. The whole family is talking about it, talking, discussing, and then they are making decision collectively for that. And I really, really value that because it is how we have been raised. But you're right that questions like this, like such as when are you having another baby, and why don't you give your child a sibling?
Yeah.
That has been asked to me also multiple times. Yeah, but when you're going through fertility and when you're going through fertility treatment and also pregnancy loss at the same time, those questions can land very differently. If you have, and this has happened to me multiple times also, that I've been going through IVF, within IVF, and someone has asked me that question and it triggers me. Like, you don't know I'm not going
Yes.
to tell you my whole medical history, that what I'm going through, but that question becomes really hard to answer in that moment, and then I just say that, yeah, we have been trying, or something very polite, so that I don't say anything
And
yet.
you know what, Nisha? Sometimes I feel it is not just South Asians. It's
Yeah,
like everybody has to
everybody.
be nosy, although
Yeah,
it doesn't concern them.
yeah, yeah,
Whether
yeah.
you decide to have one child or 10
Mm,
children,
yeah, yeah.
which in today's day is unthinkable, but everybody has a say in your life.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's not only South Asian, because my husband family is from Bensdale. So whenever I go to Bensdale, like I have been asked that question multiple times, like, regularly and frequently. But then they cannot see what has happened before we arrived at that, Christmas gathering, or
Yeah.
if we arrived at, they did not see that injection scans, procedures, what I'm going
The
through.
calls.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I think they only see one child and assume that the next one is your own choice, that you are not bringing the next one because you have decided that you're not going to do the next one. So this is
And if
the,
it's your own choice, it is
yeah,
perfectly fine, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. But then we have to, I think, sometimes separate the people's expectations from us. Like, that's your
Yeah.
expectation of what should family look like, but that's not my reality, or that's not my
Yes,
life.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Reality and expectations are two different things, and yeah, and
Mm,
and I understand, like you do, that
yeah,
people are well-meaning,
Yes.
But
Yeah.
sometimes you don't want that village around you constantly buzzing in your ear,
Yeah.
telling you what to do and
Yeah.
putting more pressure,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
because whether you decide to go through IVF or choose not to have a second child is entirely your prerogative. It is your
Yeah.
body, and
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody knows it better than you.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can, I believe that we can love our culture, like at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can love our culture and we can still challenge some parts of it that place pressure on women. And also I think it's very, very important to remove that stigma around this conversation around IVF and fertility. Because sometimes I have seen that, when you talk about IVF or fertility, even women, it feels like they just um, withdraw themselves from that conversation, that no, I don't have that problem, I got pregnant at first attempt, like that they felt like sorry,
Yep,
my
yep.
voice goes
No,
with this
no, I know,
conversation a
no,
little
no.
bit.
Take a
That
minute. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, no.
that one woman, I was talking to, I don't know, my emotions are very high today for some reason, because I'm talking this personally at a public platform. So that's why, maybe. And one
And
woman I
thank you
was
for
talking.
it, because I think we need to hear conversations,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
just through research that I read
yeah,
out, but
yeah,
also from somebody who's gone through this
yeah, yeah.
and
And
still going through this.
I was talking to someone, and she was my friend, and she was, when I was talking about IVF and fertility, that of course I've been doing this and it's very hard. And she said something like, "Oh no, when I started trying for my child, I just tried for 1 month and I was pregnant straight away."
Well,
So this is like, this is not a competition. I'm like here,
it's not a
not
competition.
not a competition, and like I'm just telling you so that someone can listen and understand, that what journey I
And
am
she's your
on.
friend.
And she's my friend, and also another instance I will also talk about, that sometimes people think like the babies which are born out of IVF, they're not natural babies. And they say, there is that stigma around IVF babies also, that they're not natural babies. But I wanted to say, sorry, so sorry.
The baby is born out of your womb, so it is as natural
Sure.
as,
Yeah.
as anyone else's.
And I wanted to say to those people that that baby is very wanted baby. That
Absolutely.
I tried 1,000 times to get that baby. Then you, like, your first attempt.
And there's no one to judge.
Then
And
no one
and
to.
mostly I find women judge women more than men judge women,
Mm, 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 mm,
because they feel it is their right, because
mm,
they
mm,
have successfully had a
mm.
child or had
Yeah.
5 children, whereas we
Yes.
are trying for IVF. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And also I think we need to be very thoughtful about the questions we ask.
Yes.
Sometimes the kindest thing we can say is not like, when will you have another child, or like, things like that. You could just ask, how are you really, how are
Yeah.
you feeling, how are you going? And if I'm in that state of mind that I can share, I will share, like, yeah, of course I'm going through this, so that there is not that, presumption from your side or expectation from your side that, oh, they are like, they're just going to have one baby or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I hear you.
Mm.
So there is this unique space called secondary fertility, being grateful for the child that you already have, and
Mm.
especially in your case, while
Mm.
still longing for another child.
Mm.
How
Mm.
do you hold both?
That's also a question which is very, I think it's a great question. And I hold both, gratitude and longing can exist also in the same heart. My
Yes.
daughter, that's why I say that my daughter is very deeply loved and she's very wanted. She's very, very loved child.
Yes. And she's special.
And she is
Yes.
very special. She's not incomplete. Our family is not incomplete. That because we have not yet have another child. My desire for another baby does not take away anything from my daughter. So yeah, that's
Absolutely.
that's given. But at the same time, having one child does not erase the grief of secondary infertility, which we were talking about today. That people sometimes respond by saying, "Oh, at least you have a one child." When I talk about my grief, and they say, "Oh, at least you have a one child." But I understand that they may be trying to comfort me. Like, my sister has
Yeah.
said that to me, that, "Oh, at least you have a one child." But
They're
it can
trying to be
also,
kind. Yep.
they're trying to be kind, but then it can close down the conversation
Yeah.
at the same time. So grief, that's why I said grief is not a competition, and you do not have to be completely without something before you're allowed to feel its absence.
Yeah.
So this is very difficult emotional balance as a mother that you have to do, that you want to remain present for my, like, I want to remain present for my daughter all the time, and I want to also carry that hope when I'm going through IVF and fertility, that yeah, of course it's going to work, but I don't want my appointments, my treatments, or like my disappointments also to be shown to, or
Yeah.
to be shown to my daughter, that she is like
Absolutely.
this, you
Yeah,
feel
because
natural.
she will know immediately when you're unhappy.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's a tightrope walk,
yeah, yeah.
having a phone call,
Yeah,
saying, sorry, this has been unsuccessful. At the
true.
same time,
Mm-hmm.
being present for your daughter as you
Mm-hmm.
are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the phone call can come anytime.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you're
yeah,
entertaining, like we saw the other
yeah,
day, we
yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
what happened.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
and
yeah,
your daughter's having a tantrum,
yeah.
and toddlers do have
The
tantrums.
tantrums, yeah.
I am, I know that. I look after a toddler 2 days a week. So they can have tantrums. Your daughter may just be having a tantrum when the call comes, and the call comes and she's having, and you have to balance all of that as a mother for, for your child who is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remind myself all the time that these are two separate truths. Like, I'm profoundly grateful for my daughter,
Yes,
100%, but also I still carry a desire to grow our family. And neither,
absolutely.
and neither truth cancel each other. Like, this is,
No, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think many women who experience this secondary infertility and they need to also permission that openly, that they can say openly without being labeled ungrateful. They are not being ungrateful about their child, but they want to honor that child, but they wanted to still have that grieve, the child we are hoping for. That
yeah.
we are.
And as you said, you wanted, it was not so much about you, but about your
Yeah,
daughter,
daughter.
that
Yeah,
her daughter has a sibling when you are
sibling.
not there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I look at it from our point of view, from my side. My
yeah,
parents are not there. My brother is there for me,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and I
yeah.
know I just have to pick up the phone for anything I
Yes.
need, and he will be there.
Yeah.
And we are
Yeah.
1,000 miles away. Same
Mm.
with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
sister's there with you. All you need to do is just pick up the phone,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
important to have a sibling.
It's very important because I came from a family, we are five siblings. So I came from a big family.
Yeah,
And I know that how important it is to have a sister, or how important it is to have a brother. Of course,
yeah,
you have a relationship with your parents, but your relationship with your sibling is very different.
absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
age is never a factor.
Yeah, age is never a factor. Yeah, 100%. If if God has given you a healthy body and God has given you,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, you can try, as long as you have,
As long as you want. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
So this is what we've been talking, but I'll still
yeah,
talk. Many
yeah.
people think that IVF is just a medical process, but it isn't. It is an emotional roller coaster.
Mm,
So, how have you been managing? I mean, yes, we are on,
mm,
let's not say, because we've talked
mm,
about your roller
mm,
coaster. Let's talk about
mm.
what you would like to tell people.
Yes,
That's more. And what are you doing as part of Noor
yes,
Collective to
mm,
help women who are going through this? Because
yeah,
it's a long journey for some,
absolutely,
very successful triplets at one
yeah,
shot,
yeah,
good or
yeah,
bad. I would never imagine
mm,
managing a
yeah,
triplets, but
yeah,
for many, it has been there.
absolutely. So the answer to it, very truthfully and honestly, I will say that I do not do it perfectly. That if I talk about it, that how do I like really think about my mental health and do things to protect it. So I'm not doing it perfectly, but I have been, because I'm in this journey for a long time, so I have made some strategies which could help me along the way,
Yeah,
and we can talk about that. So IVF, when we start doing the IVF, then they start to occupy your whole life because your calendar revolves around
yeah,
appointments, blood tests, phone becomes something you are frightened of to pick up.
absolutely. Yeah,
So yeah, 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 your whole life is about scans, blood tests, ultrasound, injections, right time of the injections at the right times, and the supplements you take, etc. But what I have one thing what I have learned to be really selective about is that who receives the update about this IVF outcome, etc. Because previously, when I was in this IVF journey, then I was just telling my family, my sisters, etc. And then when they know that I'm going through this, they ask me, every time. Okay, how did that appointment go? What was the blood test? But then suddenly, when the outcome is not great and you're not successful
Not
and
positive.
are
Yes,
not
yes, yes.
positive and you have a bad news, then you're sharing that bad news before even you processed it yourself also with your sisters. Like, they ask me and then I have to tell them, yeah, okay, that's not successful. And they start, yeah, comforting me straight away. And I'm like, I'm still processing it. I will talk to you later and things like that.
Is
But
it a good idea then to take a couple of days to process it before sharing
yeah,
news?
yeah, I think so. I think so.
I
That,
mean, here
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
just talking about you, but
yeah,
I'm talking
mm,
about the many women who go
yeah,
through IVF. And as you know, and as I know, not
yeah.
everyone is successful.
Cool, yeah, and it varies and it depends because what I'm saying is that because I'm in this journey for a long time, for like trying for 3 years and 20 IVF cycles, and like with the whole journey of it, like if you have not successful news, then you are sharing that grief and that
Yes.
bad news where you have not even processed it yourself with your loved ones, and they are even more worried for you than yourself, and then you're like, I'm giving my burden to them also at the same time.
So there's a
So
feeling of guilt.
feeling of guilt that's also kick in. So I think it really depends on your journey, like where you are at, and if you're in the start of it, it's better to share the news with others because then you feel more support. But as you go through it, you will know when to share the news, and if it is the right time to share the news with someone, or you can take time 1 or 2 days. I now take time to share the news that yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't successful. Yeah,
So here is something I want to ask you.
yeah,
So when you go through your first IVF journey,
yeah.
let's say when you're trying, do you think, and if you decide to tell your parents or your siblings or your friends, do
Mm,
you think you should tell them beforehand that the first attempt may not be successful, the 10th attempt may not be successful, even the
mm,
30th attempt may not be successful. So give me space
yeah,
to process this myself. If it's
mm,
good news, I'll be the first one to tell you.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if you are not hearing from me, which means I need time, is that what you would tell women?
I think so. I think this is what, you have to create that trusted space around you with your loved ones, with your friends, and that some parts of yourself that, you cannot share everything in that
Yeah.
journey. Yeah. And you could choose always when to share with your people, even with your close relationship with your parents, with your sister, with your siblings. You could choose that when is the right time to do that. And this is why, of course, it's good to have that conversation when you're starting this journey to with your support system, that this is what I'm going through, but I would like your extra support around this time.
Yeah.
And I will, of course, how you have framed it really well, Saleha, that it would give me some space. And when I'm ready, I will share more about that journey.
So also, while we talk about women,
Mm.
it's also the men who suffer, isn't it? The
Yeah, yeah,
partners
yeah.
who go through that.
Mm, mm,
And
mm,
men don't normally share anything in the
yeah.
sense we, and I know this is a generalization,
Mm, mm,
we have at least one close friend who,
yeah.
or our mothers or our
Yeah.
siblings, who we
Mm,
can call and say, this is what, and,
mm,
cry or be vulnerable. Whereas
mm,
with men, doesn't matter whether they're South Asian, multicultural, or Caucasian,
mm.
they just can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how would you share? I mean, when
Mm,
you have bad news, your
mm.
partner also goes through the bad news. And
Yeah,
when I mean you,
absolutely.
I'm not saying you yourself, but I'm
Yeah,
talking about women in general.
yeah, of
So
course.
your partner goes through, and it's a huge thing for him also because
Yeah,
he is part of your
part of it.
journey.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's very, very important to have a good, caring partner in that journey with you. That sometimes that's the only thing you long for, that, someone who understands
Absolutely.
that journey.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really, really grateful that, my husband is so good and so supportive throughout this journey with me. And I have not even put one injection myself in my body as yet. How many rounds I have gone through? It's like one round is like 50 to 70 injections you get, and I have not put one injection in my body. That's all my husband. He knows the schedule, he prepares everything, and he does it
How
for.
fortunate. How good
Yeah,
to have a man like
yeah,
this by your
yeah,
side.
yeah, yeah. And then he is more than part of that journey because he is actively participating through that process. So And when we have like bad news, I could see on his face that he's also disappointed. He's
Of
very
course.
disappointed.
Of course.
And but the how he processes is very different how I process it. And of course, but we do talk about that. So it is also important that you talk to your partner, you talk to your husband, create a space for both of you to talk about it. But sometimes what I do is that, we just go out without our daughter, like, my daughter is with my sister, and we just go out for a dinner, and on the dinner we talk about it.
Yeah. And that's important, that one-on-one. Yes.
One-on-one is very
time
important.
With your partner. It's so important. Yeah. We never do that somehow.
No. Yeah. So that's why I think it's good. It's good to have honest and open conversations about the process, about what you are feeling. I know my husband wouldn't share that how his feelings are, because he doesn't talk about his feelings, or men in general doesn't talk about their feelings. But still, when I talk about something, then he gives me input into that. So this means that he's also sharing in his own way.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So let me understand what Noor Collective is doing. What are you doing in your NGO? Because is it free? How do women contact you? How do men contact you? Yeah.
So, first, I will talk about Healing Noor Collective. Once I was founding this Healing Noor Collective space, and then someone asked me a question around what is the difference between healing and recovery. And that question really stayed with me, because for me...
And I will stop you right there, because I want to ask something so that you don't repeat yourself. So, we talked about this whole journey being isolating. Many women and many men don't have a space to come and talk and recover, whatever recovery looks like. Maybe recovery is just having a cry. Just holding. We keep talking about holding hands, Nisha, because you and I hold women's hands for whatever we do. We hold women's hands, but men also need holding hands, right?
Absolutely.
So what is it that you're missing? And I'd also like to know, so that I don't repeat myself when you are in the flow, what kind of information would you like to share with anyone listening to our podcast today?
Okay. So there are multiple folded questions, and I know that we are running out of time, so I will try to be like a little bit quicker into this.
No, don't worry about time. Okay. Time is as much as we want. I think getting information out there is more important.
So, that difference between healing and recovery, first I talk about, because for me, healing is what happens inside us, that it is making room for grief, fear, disappointment, and anger when we are going through something like any stress, any anxiety, any unsuccessful thing in our life. So instead of we constantly push through, which we talked about, that, if we have been taught that, you're resilient, brave, patient, and push through it. But healing is about we are making room for that to process it so that we can function. And what is recovery means is recovery is how we begin rebuilding our daily life. And what we have experienced, it may mean that reconnecting with our body, returning to work sometimes helps, finding confidence again, setting new boundaries with people, rebuilding relationships, and also allowing ourselves to imagine a future and hope for something better.
Absolutely. Setting boundaries is very important, because we don't understand that.
Yeah. And I think my what
Take a minute. It's okay.
Yeah.
That I know it's personal, so it's always difficult.
Yeah. So this is the missing space, is a major reason that I have founded Healing Noor Collective, because Healing Noor Collective it's not intended to replace medical care, because medical care is important, of course.
Absolutely.
And we don't offer individual medical advice either. Its role is very, very different, that we are building community-based, peer-led, and evidence-informed spaces where women can speak honestly, learn, connect, and feel less alone. So that's the space we are building. We are also looking beyond the individual women right now. We are also building something around workplaces and leaders, so they can better understand of how important it is that, women who are in the workforce, how important it is to understand their life transitions around hormonal changes or fertility treatment or perimenopause and menopause that affect women at work. Because the more I talk about it to people, they tell me stories that some women, even they have to leave the workforce because they're going through menopause. They couldn't handle the they couldn't handle the changes what was happening
in their
them.
bodies. And trust me,
Yeah.
premenopause and postmenopause is the
Yeah.
worst thing you can go
Yeah.
through. Yeah.
And then there is no support in the workplaces exist for them. But of course, there are laws and obligations right now in the workplaces. But at the same time, there is no tools for the leadership that how they can support that woman. So that's where we also want to provide the advisory services to workplaces, how you could support women. I understand that women, when they are like 35 plus, and when they are in their 40s, etc., they are going into a senior leadership positions. But at the same time,
yes, body's going through changes.
So that becomes really, really hard to manage both things. So that's why it is very important to have that understanding for the leadership also around that. So my hope is that women will not have to search in 5 different places for fragments of support while also managing treatment. They should be able to enter a space where her culture, her body, her emotions, work, and relationships are understood as part of the same life. And we have now launched our website also, healingnoorcollective.com. So if they want to find
yes, I'll get the email the website from you.
Yeah. I will give you the website, and then you could put it in the description for the site also. They can go on the website, and they can also put themselves in the community-based circles we will be doing around IVF, around perimenopause, and we are also delivering some healing-centered programs. We recently delivered a healing-centered programs in Boyd Community Hub, South Bank. And we're also now working on another healing centered program, which we'll be delivering again in Melbourne City Council area, because we are Melbourne based. So we are working on that at the moment. But please. And around the information, you said that, do you wish women knew before starting fertility treatment? Should I talk about that now?
Yeah.
Should I talk about that now? Yeah. Okay. All right. So the first thing I wish I knew. The first thing I wish women knew is that they have options and they have the right to ask questions also. So many people hear about IVF and they automatically assume and think that, this pathway is very expensive. It is a private clinic and it is very high cost, and private treatment is the only option, but that's not correct. I wanted to say that in Victoria, there is a
just
public.
Need to be, So we had to be, only in Victoria.
Yeah. In Victoria, that there is a public fertility care program, and it is led by Royal Women's Hospital in partnership with some health services across the state. So eligibility criteria, of course, applies that, and the process begins with a GP referral. You get a GP referral, you go to then with a specialist referral, and you go to the current public program that includes a lifetime of 2 stimulated IVF cycle or ICSI cycles for eligible people. I think there is an age. It means that you have to be a certain age limit.
Okay, so you can't be 50 plus.
You can be 50 plus. Yeah. I think the criteria is, I'm not sure because I haven't gone through that yet, but I think it is 42, that you are under 42 or something, then you can get a lifetime of 2 stimulated IVF cycles. So in that public treatment, of course, the IVF is covered, but then you have to pay for, let's say, medication, or there would be very minimal out-of-pocket cost. It wouldn't be huge, but there will be out-of-pocket cost very minimal. And I also know someone who has gone through the Royal Women's Hospital public fertility, this one treatment, and they also got a beautiful daughter in first attempt. That is a great, great story to share also. So, of course, I would encourage all the women to talk to their GP, get a referral, and try to get a public fertility care. There are some private clinics, but there are some subsidized clinic also. Keep in mind that they will give you subsidy. What they do is that, they have some arrangement with the government that we are providing these IVF services, and that is subsidized through Medicare then. That there will be out-of-pocket cost for you, but it will not be as huge as private clinic. So you have to search for subsidized fertility clinic. You need to talk to them also. And another thing I will say that that what women should also do is that they need to keep their own copies of test results. Do your own research and ask what each test means. Ask what each supplement means. What is this medication do?
Yeah.
What are
Very
you
important.
prescribing
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
What is this decision means for my body? You are allowed to ask questions. Don't hold yourself back. I always take a list of questions for myself to the doctor, and I have seen like varied responses. Sometimes doctors really shut me down. That calm down. Even one doctor said to me, "Calm down. Why are you asking so many questions?" He literally used that words, "calm down." And I'm like, I'm just asking questions
It's your
about
body, and you're
it's my
trying for a child, and you're going
body.
to calm down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. And you know me that I wouldn't ask any questions like with anxiety. I'm very calm person, so I'm ask very
No,
respectfully and
and fair enough. Even if you're not calm, this is,
yeah,
you're wanting a
yeah,
child.
yeah, yeah.
You have the right to ask
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's very important to then self-advocate, because sometimes you could do your own research, what has worked for your body previously with different supplements. You can talk
Yeah.
about that. This supplement I have took, like, what does it mean for me? Can I still keep taking it? Things like that. Do your own research also, which is very important. Sometimes doctors also does not have, like, all the doctors does not have all the knowledge in that.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to, like, if you talk, you have seen some supplement, yeah, don't self prescribe yourself, or don't take anything without doing any
Without
without
going to a doctor. Yes.
without going to a doctor. But you have to check with the doctor, oh, this thing exists, does it help me or not? What do you think? This treatment exists, what do you think about it? So it's very, very important to ask that. And you can also go for a second opinion if you're not happy with.
Always.
Always go for a second opinion. I think I was talking to you, Saleha, when we were talking about how important it is to go for a second opinion, I think. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Because sometimes this does not mean that you're disrespecting your doctor. It means that want more understanding, more about
Yeah,
your
and
options.
you should. It's your body. It's, you are going to have a child.
Yeah,
You should have second, third opinions.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah. So the finally one thing I will say that think before also. One thing is also very important before starting this journey is your support before treatment starts. Not only after you become overrun. Consider who you will tell, which we talked about before. Who you're going to tell, what flexibility you may need at work, who can attend appointments with you. Okay, I'm coming in 1 minute. Okay. Who can come with appointments with you, and where you will go for emotional support.
You
It's
can
very,
have
very
Ria there. That's what we do. It is all
all
about
right.
family.
Hello? Okay, all right, you go and come in. Okay? Go ahead. Yeah, I'm coming in 5 minutes. Yeah,
So it's important to have, and also a supportive partner,
yeah,
because
supportive partner,
like you
very
said,
important.
the journey has to be with,
Yeah,
it's two of you. You cannot, unless you're single and you want to go through IVF. I
yes,
think it's important to have a very supportive partner,
yes, yes,
because, I mean, both of us work in family violence, and this journey can
yes,
trigger a
yes,
lot,
yeah,
because my age or your age,
mm,
there are extended family members who do not
yes,
understand.
no,
And if
no,
they don't understand, verbal abuse can be really terrible at this point of time.
absolutely.
When and again, you may be successful, you may not be
Not
successful.
recently.
And
Yeah,
that is never a girl's fault, or it's
yeah,
never a
yeah,
man's fault.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
things work, things don't work, and age is a big factor, like you and
yes.
I both said.
Yeah, and
And
Salila, I think yes, what you said is very truly right. Because of this fertility conversation that put a lot of pressure on women, it
yeah,
can trigger sometimes family violence, which we have seen. Because I know that you were having some conversations with some other doctors also,
a
when
surgeon, yes, about
surgeon. Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
talked about male infertility, which
yeah,
nobody, I mean, amongst us, we never talk about that. It's always
mm,
a woman, isn't it? But
yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah,
and I somehow feel that women understand women less,
yes,
uh, and people who are mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, our age people,
mm, mm,
we would think that we are more aware, more accepting, but that is not true.
yes,
And it doesn't have to go to any cultures. It is just as a person.
yes,
You People are not, and sometimes even well-meaning questions can be so hurtful. Like you
absolutely.
said, when you're having a bad day, you've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
bad news,
yes, yeah, yeah,
and you've
yeah.
been crying. And then somebody very well-meaning will, and sometimes, it is very important to have the right people by your side, especially your partner. So,
absolutely.
Nisha, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. And your story is going to comfort a lot of people. I hope so. And to everyone tuning in today, especially if you're currently in the middle of your own IVF journey, waiting for news or navigating the spaces of secondary infertility, please know that you don't have to carry this weight by yourself, as we keep talking about, and we kept talking during our conversation. Your pain is valid, your hope is beautiful, and you're absolutely not alone. Get that village that we keep talking about of trusted people around you. Help is out there. Nisha's NGO is one of them. So seek support. In Australia, there are incredible safe spaces ready to wrap their arms around you. Nisha is one of them. And you can connect with Noor Collective for peer support, the Multicultural Center for Women's Health for culturally safe care, or the Fertility Counselors Association of Australia to find a specialist to talk to. I will have all these in the link when I put up my conversation. Nisha, thank you so much. I hope you hear good news.
I hope so too.
In case you don't, we are all with you. And, like I said, whatever happens, happens for the best. You have a beautiful child. Wrap her around you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, bye.